Lee Marvin finally tells the truth about Cary Grant, and everything begins with the life of a man who was far more than just a Hollywood tough guy. Born on February 19, 1924 in New York City, raised in a privileged household with a war hero, father and a refined Southern mother, but young Lee was anything but polished. He was expelled from several schools because he was wild, stubborn, and always ready for a fight. A personality that later became the backbone of his on-screen legend. When World War II erupted, he joined the U.S. Marine Corps and fought in the brutal Battle of Saipan, where machine gun fire nearly killed him, leaving behind deep scars on his body and on his mind. Scars that gave his future performances a haunting layer of truth, because he had seen real violence and real death up close, and that Purple Heart he earned was proof that his toughness was never an act. When the war ended, he drifted from job to job working as a plumber's assistant before discovering acting and instantly dominating the stage with his raw voice, fierce stare, and natural presence. And Hollywood took notice quickly. In the 1950s, he was cast as villains, soldiers, and men with dangerous edges. Always the character who felt more real than anyone else on screen. And even in small roles, audiences were glued to him because he did not pretend to be tough. He lived it. Films like The Wild One, Bad Day at Black Rock, and The Big Heat built his reputation as a cinematic powerhouse. But it was Cat Ballou in 1965 that changed everything, giving him both comedy and grit, and an Oscar for Best Actor, proving that the roughest man in Hollywood could also make people laugh without losing an ounce of authenticity. Throughout the 60s and 70s, he owned the screen in The Dirty Dozen, Point Blank Hell in the Pacific, and Paint Your Wagon, bringing a depth and rawness no one else could match. And directors adored how he blended brutality with vulnerability, like a man who carried the trauma of war everywhere he went. Off-camera, Marvin was just as intense, known for his sharp tongue, heavy drinking, no-nonsense attitude, and refusal to play Hollywood's polished game. Yet despite the rough edges, he was loyal, witty, intelligent, and deeply real. Something that both fascinated and intimidated the industry. His personal life was chaotic. His first marriage to Betty Ebeling survived his early struggles, but could not survive the fame, the drinking, the late nights, and the unpredictable temper. Although they had 4 children together, their love could not endure, and they divorced in 1967. But she remained one of few people who truly understood him. Then came Pamela Feely, the woman who supported him through success, illness, and scandal, including the famous palimony lawsuit brought by Michelle Triola that rocked Hollywood, but Pamela stayed by his side always. The quiet strength behind the loudest man in the room, and their marriage lasted until his final breath. As age and years of tobacco and alcohol caught up with him, his body began to fail, and a deadly lung infection led to surgeries and pain that stripped the once unstoppable force of his energy, but not his spirit. Because Lee Marvin never complained, never asked for pity, he just kept fighting. Like the Marine, he always remained deep down until his heart finally gave out on August 29, 1987, at 63 years old, closing the chapter on one of Hollywood's most fearless icons. But before he died, he was asked about other stars, especially the great Cary Grant, the symbol of elegant sophistication and effortless charm. And Marvin did not hesitate to reveal the truth, describing Grant as a man who controlled his image perfectly, polished, poised, and always aware of the world's eyes. Unlike Marvin, who lived loud and unpolished, Grant lived like a masterpiece in a museum, almost too flawless to touch. Marvin admired his discipline and intelligence, yet saw the hidden battle inside him, saying that behind the smooth accent and million-dollar smile was Archie Leach, the poor boy from Bristol, who never fully disappeared. And Marvin saw in Grant's eyes a struggle to maintain perfection that the world demanded from him every second of his life. He respected Grant's star power, admitting that Grant could simply walk into a room and the world would fall in love, while Marvin had to fight, bleed, and roar for attention. But even with their differences, he recognized Grant as one of the last. True movie stars. A man who made the camera love him without trying, and he joked that putting the two of them in the same film would be like mixing bourbon with champagne, because Grant represented glamour, while Marvin represented the bar fight. Yet both men were authentic in their own ways, each defining masculinity from opposite worlds. Marvin said you cannot fake being Cary Grant, and you cannot fake being Lee Marvin. Each man lived truthfully to who he was, and that honesty is the reason both remain legends. Lee Marvin left a legacy built on bravery, toughness, and a refusal to ever be anything other than real. And his words about Cary Grant peeled back the curtain on Hollywood perfection, showing the world that even its smoothest star carried hidden battles underneath the glow of fame. If you want more powerful Hollywood stories like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon so you never miss the truth behind the legends of cinema.